just happened? Oh my god, both the red pastures filled.
Welcome to Going Low in CSGO. Sucking on purpose got boring for me in Season 2, so now I'm playing as best as I can, with certain limitations. Last week I used just a knife. Thanks to a strong, understanding, wonderful team, we still managed to draw the match, and I got a fair few kills. Now, if you watched the previous episode, you're probably expecting a video of us playing with CZ75s. I have some good news, and some bad news. The bad news is, I accidentally deleted about 90% of the footage I had of this match, and will not be able to base an episode around it. Here, have the one good clip from it, when I was forced to use a knife when controlling a bot since it didn't buy a CZ75 at the beginning of the round. The good news is, the rest of the match was predictable and dull, so you're not missing out on much. I dropped down to Gold 3 because of it, which nicely leads on to the main match for this episode. And best of all, for once it's not Dust 2, but Vertigo, a towering monster of a map made in heaven, a level that others look up to. How can you hate a map that transforms the players into lemmings? You can't! Time to put on a show that the other team wouldn't forget in a hurry. The first round began and the three of us hurled ourselves into oblivion. The rest of our team seemed somewhat confused, as did the enemies. Ouch, one round down already.
Counter-terrorists win.
For the record, 4 of us are part of the same team. That leaves one poor guy who's stuck on our team of weirdos. Hey, we don't exactly want to blow up a skyscraper.
Can you guys just kick me, please?
The poor guy begged for mercy and we gave it to him.
Okay.
He left the server for greener, saner pastures. But we
We've
remained.
given you mercy.
And suddenly, it got very quiet on the server. Balthazar once again refused to be part of the group and headed off to play properly. Oh wait, no he didn't. He hid in the toilet. The coward. You've got to reevaluate your life when a Friday evening consists of deliberately losing on a computer game, then watching a friend lurk in the toilet for 2 minutes. But then again, I've known worse. At that point, I should have realised how much potential those toilets had. But no, spawn killing ourselves still felt more appealing this early on in the game.
What are you doing, man? Let's go.
Balthazar finally succumbed to the lure of the fall after almost being knifed for a second time. He put up a pretty good defence, but let's face it, the odds were against him.
Counter-terrorists win.
The CTs could only look down at the street below and wonder who was going to clear this mess up. But this guy on the right, Jimmy, began thinking deeply. He wondered why man has such a fascination with heights, about building bigger and taller structures, about climbing from the lowest dungeon to the highest peak before flinging himself and others off of the top. He thought that it would make for a great Counter-Strike map. Perhaps there could be a mini-game where players had to climb something tall. Unfortunately for him, it had already been done. By me, with my FY Island Domination map. It was made back in the days of dissolutions and before I started posting tutorials on YouTube. It was inspired by that other new live map for Unreal Tournament that I spouted endlessly about in Season 2's finale. It was kind of like Battlefield, where players would choose their profession and would spawn with various weapon types, before trying to take over nodes on the map that they could then spawn from in the future. It was amazing in deathmatch mode. There was a working tank that mucked up all the time, moving bridges, beautiful views, but nobody cared about that. All people cared about was that mountain and how they could climb it. Screw my attempts at crafting a brand new game mode. I'm not bitter about it. Or am I? Anyway, that mountain. It doesn't look like much from far away, but the views from the top were great. Here I am, climbing up that secret path around the back of the mountain. You had to jump over some gaps, over a physics bridge, avoid the rockfalls slightly further up, and you'd be rewarded with an amazing view and an AWP at the top, making you master of the map. It taught me a great deal about mapping, and I saw the massive potential for a game mode that worked in this checkpoint deathmatch style format. Sadly, I never made another map in this style and it faded into obscurity, but that didn't stop me from taking numerous friends up this mountain over the years. I think that at one point I even showed it to a woman. I'm such a romantic. But yeah, just one of the many strange and overly ambitious things that I worked on over the years that didn't fruit into anything. That's not to say that all of my maps were like that. In fact, there was one map that created a new game mode type and was played by hundreds, if not thousands of players. But I think I'll leave that for next week. Anyway, back to the real world. Or at least, back to this game of Vertigo.
Get out.
We killed ourselves for a couple more rounds, and Balthazar made it really dull by playing properly, obviously displeased by our childish antics. I was always told that I would grow out of childish things, but just like farts and jokes about your mum, they simply get better with age. Bit like your mum.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
We did this for a couple of rounds before becoming a bit more creative. Why not let the bot have a go at winning? We all killed ourselves and left our fate in the hands of Fred the Fearless Defenestrator.
Go on, Fred. You can do it. You're a big boy, Fred.
Maybe he'll stand a chance once we reach Silver 1. And now I proudly present to you 3 men, 1 toilet. It's messy.
Fire in the hole.
Oh, Gordon Freeman, what is it with you and Hazardous Waste? And now I even more proudly present to you the logical sequel, 4 men, 2 toilets.
Let's do this quick. Let's all make it home tonight.
Once again, Balthazar ruined it all by not making it 5 men, 1 toilet, and he ended up dueling the last guy face to face. Yeah, no ruining our perfect losing streak this game. This was ensured by this. Time for a new strategy. Unfortunately, Gordon Freeman was kicked and banned for friendly fire from this little display, leaving just JFCC, Balthazar and myself against the world.
I'm at their insertion point. Watch the friendly fire. Don't shoot me! That... Counter-terrorists win. Hey, let's not lose it now. You idiot! Don't shoot me! I'm staying here.
The rounds went on and the bodies continued to rain from the sky. Even Balthazar, trying his best to survive, contributed to the mess that was piling up in the streets. By round 14 he turned completely, probably just because he wanted to get this ordeal over and done with. By the final round of the first half, we had all united to ensure a quick loss and the CTs helped in any way they could. And then the first and final round of the second half began. What would we do? Would we play to win? Would we camp in the toilets? Would we come up with something imaginative and new? Nope, we all jumped off the side in different spots, causing more terror than the terrorist team could manage. apart from Balthazar, who screwed it all up and died in the first firefight he encountered. And that was it. We all admired our scores, and JFCC was excited to have got an item.
Oh, I got an item out of this. I just got an item left.
We had had an entertaining game, and the baddies had gotten their points.
Thanks for the points, guys.
You're welcome.
You guys are stupid.
Everybody benefited, apart from BBR 1-Up, who's currently enjoying a cooldown period from having been kicked from a match.
You've given you mercy.
Lol. In the next episode, well, it depends if I lose everything again, but hopefully this sound will strike fear into the hearts of our foes. Find out next time.